Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I hope everyone is having a lovely day so far. It is rainy and gray here in Washington. We had sunshine the past couple days and now we have yucky gray weather. So hopefully that doesn't last long. If you don't know me, my name is Charlene Madrid and I am on the design team here at Picket Fence Studios. And I go live most Tuesdays at 12 o'clock Central. So hopefully, good morning, Arlette. I see we have some people popping in here. Good morning, good morning. Today we are going to be doing a fun, a little bit messy, but not too bad technique. I don't know what it would be called. So it's faux watercolor, and we're going to be using our pint-sized Pouncers. And it's a quick and easy, fun technique, so you'll definitely be able to easily recreate it at home. Good morning, Rhonda. All right, where do I want to start? I don't know. Let me put you down on my desk. Good morning, Kathy. And we will get right into it. Kathy, you're enjoying the overcast, rainy day. Okay, we're going to work with today the new blooming trumpet flowers. I've got the stamps and dies here. And these are illustrated by Kelly Taylor. If you know Kelly Taylor, she has a YouTube channel and she does videos for Picket Fence Studios as well. And she's illustrated several different stamps now, and they're all very, very pretty. She has a new video actually on the Picket Fence Studios channel that goes over a lot of other fun ways to use this stamp set. So definitely check that out, okay? But we're going to be doing kind of a down and dirty version of watercolor. I don't know how else to describe it. Kathy, right? I want sunshine. Come back. I don't like it. I had to wear a sweatshirt today, people. A sweatshirt. Hi, by sunny Sweden. Oh, I wish it was sunny here. It is not. We are going to use this large stamp. So I'll start by pulling that off. And if you're going to do this technique, I find that it works better with large stamps and it works really well with florals. You can do it with other styles of stamps, but florals in particular work really well. We're going to use that. We are going to be using some watercolor paper. You could use any kind of watercolor paper that you prefer. I like to use hot press watercolor paper because it is smoother than cold press watercolor paper when I am going to be stamping on it. So I'm going to stamp and heat emboss. So the smoother it is, the more likely I'll get a good result with the heat embossing. Hi, Christine. Good morning. And so I recommend with stamping and with heat embossing, a hot press watercolor paper tends to work really well. And I did link it to this in the description as well as the supply list. And there's lots of other good ones too. This is just the one that I use, and it comes in 5x7 sheets and it's fairly reasonably priced, I would say. So I'm going to put this right in the center of my stamp wheel. Try not to get my giant noggin in the way. And then I'm going to take my large floral stamp here because I want to stamp this out twice. I'm probably going to let it hang off the edge. No, maybe not. Let's see. Let's do it like this. I think I'll be able to get two on there. So I'm going to stamp it like this. So that way I can rotate my plate 180 degrees and get a second stamping on the one sheet. So So I will come in here and, like I said, we're going to heat emboss. So let me grab all of the fun heat embossing stuff we need to make this happen. And we're going to be heat embossing with black embossing powder, but you could also do this with white or clear if you're not friends with black embossing powder. So I know a lot of people, understandably, are not big fans of black embossing powder because it is so highly pigmented. It does tend to stick to your paper a lot more. If you've ever wondered why black embossing powder is much more difficult to work with, it is because of the amount of pigment that's in it that's needed in order to make it be the color black. So I did a lot of anti-static powder down on my watercolor paper. And because watercolor paper also tends to have more of a tooth to it, meaning it has a rougher edge, it adds another layer of annoyingness, I guess, to heat embossing with black embossing powder, because the embossing powder tends to stick even more. So make sure you get a real nice good coating of your anti-static powder tool if you're doing this technique. Now I'm going to get this really nice and covered here with my embossing ink. And I'm actually going to stand up, because when you're working with watercolor paper, it is hard to get the ink, any kind of ink, really down into the grooves of the paper, because it does have a little bit of texture on it. So I always add some extra pressure to make sure I get a good result. And then I'm going to do this a second time. So you guys probably can't really see my face right now because I'm standing. But it really does help quite a bit if you really kind of give it some extra oomph. Extra oomph on a rainy, cloudy day. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing, only I'm going to flip my plate around 180 degrees, and we are going to stamp this twice up top as well. And hopefully these don't overlap. If they do, it's not the end of the world. We'll still be able to use them. But I think I gave it enough room that they will not. All right, we're gonna press down really nice. How's the weather in Kentucky, Christine? It's probably warm there. Yucky here. And then we'll do a second coat of the embossing ink. If you ever have trouble with heat embossing, I recommend re-inking your embossing ink. Having a nice kind of juicy pad helps a lot. Push down again here. Okay. Hopefully, we'll see. Warm and humid. See, I like the warm, not so big on the humid though. That was the nice thing about living in Colorado. It did get hot there in the summer, but it was, as everybody always says, but it's a dry heat. I was always like, yeah, but it's hot. It is hot. No, thank you. I like, you know, I'm kind of like Goldilocks when it comes to weather. I want it not too hot, not too cold. Give me a nice warm day and I'm a happy girl. Okay, I've got the Wow Primary Ebony Superfine Embossing Powder. And I'm just going to sprinkle this right over the top. And if we did our job right, it should pick up everywhere. I'm not super worried about any little stray bits of embossing powder because we are going to be die cutting these out once all is said and done. So really, any little extra bits that are on the inset parts of the stamp that might decide to hang out, those you're not really going to be able to tell that they're not sort of supposed to be there with this little bit more of a messy technique that we're doing. I feel like this side did not take as well, but that's okay. All right, there we go. So we've got some black embossing powder on there. And let's pour this back into our jar here so that hopefully we don't make a giant mess. Set that over there and close this up so I don't knock it all over the place. Don't mind me. Let me just get all this embossing powder off there. Yuck. Yuck. Oh, Rhonda, the cicadas. Christine, you is right. Ugh. No, thank you. Are they out in full force now? I read that it's like a once in a million years. I don't remember what it was. But once in a very long time. What is it? Like 3 different versions of cicadas are converging or are leaving their ground nests. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. I don't blame you. I would stay inside too. Oh, step on them. It's that bad? Oh gosh. Okay. No good. I'm sorry. All right, get your heat gun nice and hot before you bring it in because you want it to melt your embossing powder pretty quickly. So we'll come in here, and as soon as it goes from matte to shiny, I'm going to move on to the next section. Now you do, though, want to make sure that you're hitting everything. So that makes it kind of tricky when you heat emboss large stamps. Just go back and be very sure, be diligent. Make sure you've hit all of the parts. So I always like to stop and kind of turn it in the light just to make sure everything is shiny. We'll do the same thing on this side. And then we will move on to some fun faux watercolor. Again, I'm just going to turn it here. I think I got everything. Let's see. It looks pretty good. Look at how nicely this one did. This one's okay, but this one really, like, I don't know if you guys can see the shine on it. It turned out really nice. So we'll want to make that one probably the top one. We'll see how it turns out once we've added all of our color. Oh, Christine, it's fun because then there's so many easy watercolor techniques that you can do. And because the embossing powder is essentially a melted plastic, it creates these little wells that make it super easy to contain your colors to specific spots. Now, you could do this also with clear embossing powder, and then it really looks like you have hand painted the florals if you do watercolor, because that clear is not really going to show up as much. It's a very, very pretty way to watercolor. Now I'm going to come in with, I've got my pint-sized cutie patootie Pouncers here. Got a couple of colors of ink. I got a green and kind of a cool dark purple and a blue, kind of a medium blue. I'm gonna take a drink of coffee. Yeah, Kathy, I don't like bugs or insects. either. I manage. I'm not like, I'm actually the person in the house that gets called to like for spider duty or anything like that. Any kind of, we lost a bird outside recently. Little birdie didn't make it, and I of course was called to do away with said bird. Even though it's not my favorite thing, I think my husband would rather die than do that. And it's really quite funny because he's like 6'4" and a big guy. But don't tell him I said that. I'm going to start here with my green and get my pint-sized pouncer. Pull up my sleeves so I don't stick them in my ink. Now, when I'm working with this pouncer, I'm going to kind of like pinch it a little bit in order to manipulate it and get it in the spaces I want. This doesn't have to be perfect though, and you're going to see, like, we're going to go outside the lines. Not a big deal at all. So I'm going to get some green ink here, and I'm just going to bring it along where our leaves are in the image. And it doesn't matter that I'm getting up and onto the flowers, because you're going to see this is going to be kind of an artsy sort of take on watercolor, faux watercolor anyway. And get it on the stems, and you see I'm just kind of holding it like this, tap, tap, tapping. Nothing wild, not anything that you know, requires a lot of extra skill or anything like that. And once I've gotten all the leaves on that side, hey Savannah, welcome. So once I have that side, again, just gonna pinch the pouncer and bring it in on those green leaves. And I'm not making this super dark because I'm gonna come in and I'm actually gonna do a little bit of painting. You'll see. It'll make more sense as we go along. But I want the area that's going outside of the color, outside of the embossing powder outline, I want that to be lighter than what's gonna be inside the embossed outline. So keep that in mind. So this is plenty of green on there for now. I'm going to set my pouncer aside. Now, in color theory, the way that colors land on the color wheel, you generally speaking don't want to mix purple and green. So the way we can get around that is we can bring blue in now. And our transition color is going to be the blue, because the blue will blend well with the purple and the blue will blend well with the green as well. So we'll get our pint-sized pouncer, get some blue ink, and now all I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this, same thing, pinch it, and I'm going to bring it up and on the areas that are next to the green. So you see I'm just kind of going right there, right along where that green is. Same thing over here. But I do want to try and leave a little bit of area where I can add some purple in. So we'll bring this in here, kind of over here, right along this flower right there, and around this leaf right here. And up through here, and on this other side of the green right here. Again, not really worried at all by any kind of blotchiness we have going on, because that's going to get taken away. So we'll flip this around. We're going to do the same thing with this blue. We're going to bring it along the edges of wherever it is green. Trying to squeeze it just so that I leave some space for that purple to pop kind of through there. So anywhere that this blue is covering over the green, we're going to get a blue-green. So we're actually going to get a bonus color once we add some water to this panel. And same thing over here. We'll go right up on the edge and even a little bit into the green right there. I think that maybe I'll do some here too. And here. Okay, that's good for the blue. Let's put this away. And let's bring in the purple. Now for the purple, instead of kind of like pinching it like this, I'm going to sort of smoosh it like this so that it creates a smaller little space here. So when I bring it in, it's going to kind of just neatly go right in, and I'm going to try and go over the flowers wherever there is not any green, so that way I am not getting a brown mucky mess when the colors mix together. Okay, that's pretty good. I'll flip this around, do the same thing here, bring it right in here. And it's fine that it's overlapping that blue. Remember, we want some of that overlap because it is going to help create a pretty, what is it, periwinkle? I think that's the name of the color when you have a blue purple. And bring that down. Okay, I think we're pretty good. So we're done with our pouncers. I'm going to set these aside, but we're not done with our ink pads because we're still going to be using them. This is kind of like a spotlight technique almost. So let's come in here. I'm going to clean off my desk here a little bit, just so I don't get myself quite so messy. And now I'm going to take my sprayer bottle. And on this style of sprayer, if you squeeze it just slightly, you get kind of drips. So I'm going to do that first to get some kind of drips going on here. And then I'm going to do a full couple of sprays on there. All right. Now this is going to get that water that we just put on there. It's going to get it moving around. The colors moving around, kind of blending in together. You can see they're already starting to move around together. And we're just going to let that get kind of happy. I'm going to bring in a small paintbrush here. And I'm going to move this out of the way just so I can... Ooh, gosh, that's so squeaky. Wipe up the extra water there. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in and I'm going to give myself a nice big smush here of my green ink. And I'm going to put a little bit of water on my work surface. I'll get my brush nice and wet, bring it into this green, and then I am going to dab in my green to really get it to pop some more. See how that's darkening up there? And there's no real rhyme or reason to where you need to put this. I'm just kind of blooping it in there. Bloop is the word for the day, guys. Yes, and Rhonda, it is super pretty just like this. You could absolutely leave it just like this, die cut these out, and they would look fabulous. Now, I do want to give them a little bit more variation with pops of color in here. So this is how I can easily accomplish that. And this is what I was talking about with if you watercolor with embossing ink, it creates these little wells, you know, so plastic wells where you drop the color in there, you get the paper wet, and then you drop some color in there, and it's going to stay in its little home. So I'm going to bring some green right along these stems, and can't remember what those little like spots on the bottom of the flowers are called, like the little green areas that kind of go up and around the flower. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Hey, Rebecca, thank you. We'll flip this around. I know they have a name. Every time I do a video that has any kind of flower like die that has pieces, you guys, I will purposely look up what all the names are, because there's inevitably going to be somebody who's like, that's not what that's called. So I always make sure that I look it up, you know, like the anther and the blah, 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 all those different parts of the flower. I don't know. But, you know, that kind of stuff just doesn't stay in my brain. And like I've told you guys before, I don't have a green thumb. Bloop. That's right. This is blooping, Arlette. The official term. Bloop watercolor. So we'll bloop this in. Get some over here. And you see how it's like just really getting those leaves to pop in there. So you have this fun kind of thing going on outside of the flowers, but then you're just going to have these pops of color. And I'm not taking it all the way into the leaves. I'm just taking it in some areas of those leaves. So now I'm going to kind of rinse my brush out here a little bit. I'm not too worried about how well I rinse it because my next color is going to be blue. So I'll clean this off. And oh, look how cool. See where we did the like bigger drips as it's drying, how that is like creating those fun sepal. Thank you. See, I can count on Rebecca to come in here and tell me when I haven't looked it up in advance. So we get some blue down here now, guys. And you do want to get a fair bit of the ink because, you know, these are not professional grade watercolors, right? These are dye inks, water-based dye inks, but they work great for faux watercolor. They really do. So I'm going to do the same thing here now with the blue, just kind of bringing it in, blooping it in there wherever I think, maybe along the edges of the petals and towards the base, just to help pop the colors on the florals a little bit more. And I'm really not worried where I put the blue because the blue will go well with everything. It'll be friends with the purple, it'll be friends with the green. So it doesn't matter where you put it in. I'm actually going to get some more here. The darker your color, kind of the better it works for this technique. But you can always add extra. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of the color. All right, there we go. That's good enough. Flip this around and we'll do some blue over here. Bringing it in just wherever you think would look nice. I think I'll bring it over here on this little bud. Do the same thing on this one. So we'll get a nice kind of like a teal looking buds on these ones now. Do this one too before I forget. There we go. Bring some in down through here. end here. Now you do want to work fairly quickly just because your paper is naturally going to be drying as you're doing this. Exactly. I've got to bloop the sepal. Now I can't remember how it said. I said it right the first time. Okay, we'll clean this up. Sepal. That's what it is. Sepal. Right? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. We'll bring in some purple now, you guys. Woo! Look at that purple. So pretty. A little bit of water. And somewhere my top to my paintbrush just went flying. I heard it. Let's get to blooping. Ooh, look at that pretty color. So pretty. And this in particular will look really nice towards the center of the flowers in here to darken them up. And maybe under here a little bit. I think that's good. Ooh, flip our piece around and do the same thing over here. Get maybe underneath the petals here where it might be a little bit darker naturally from the shading. Get this, just blooping it in, blooping it in. I think we're pretty good. All right, so the very last thing we are going to do, we have this here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mist this one more time. And that's going to help get those colors that we just put on there that were starting to dry towards the end. That's going to help them move around still a little bit more. So I'll set this over here. We'll clean up our little messy mess. And this time I'll clean my brush a little bit better since I'm done with it. I am not a professional watercolorist, y'all. Watercolors tend to, professional grade watercolors have pigment in them. They're not dye. And so they will last a lot longer. Oh, look at that. Look, it's like a pretty frame around my picture. See? They will last a lot longer and they'll be more light fast. So if you're wanting to paint a fancy work of art, water-based dye inks are not what you want to use. But for card making, they are so simple and easy to use, and you're going to get colors that you're familiar with, right? So you can coordinate them with your ink blending, with any other kind of techniques you're doing with the inks because they're multifunctional. That's right, I said multifunctional, guys. I used a big word. Okay, I'm gonna take a drink of coffee. And then I'm gonna bring in my heat tool here. Now normally I would just let this air dry, but because we are on a time thing, you know, you guys are gonna stay with me all day. And we're gonna dry it because we're gonna die cut this. Now here's a little hot tip for you. If you dry this by running your heat tool along the edge of your paper like this, do you see what I'm doing? That is going to keep it from warping as much because you're at the same time you're getting hot air on the top of the paper, you are also getting it on the bottom of the paper, and it kind of balances itself out, I guess. So if you are worried at all about warping, this is a great way to avoid it. Oh, look at those bright pops of color, guys. Now this is gonna, keep in mind, it looks like a little bit of a messy mess at the moment, right? Because we've got all those weird kind of blob looking formations. They're pretty, but they're a little weird. But once we die cut this out, then you're really gonna see the flowers are really gonna look nice. So it looks like I'm getting pretty close here to dry. Just gonna hit the center back here a little bit. There we go. And the nice thing about working with a high quality watercolor paper is it's a lot less likely to crack. You know, it's very malleable. So I can do this and just make sure everything's nice and flat. And I'm going to show you up close now. So you can sort of see all those fun, interesting color things we've got going on in there. We're going to die cut this. Hopefully it feels pretty dry. All right, got some highlighter tape here. So it was a little bit messy, but it wasn't too bad, right? And now we will line this up. Let me move it down so I don't stick my giant noggin in the way. So this stamp, you know, these big floral stamps like this, I do love to color them with alcohol ink markers. But sometimes, you know, that's just like a lot for a Tuesday, you know? Maybe you don't want to do all that Copic coloring, all that Olo coloring. It's nice just to have the option to create a quick and easy card. Oh, I need to turn this. Let me run this through my die cutting machine. And, oh, I found it. See, now this little thing, this is what I was talking about. It came off. My dog would absolutely eat this. So let me put it back on here before it gets lost in the abyss. Okay, we'll take this one out. And then we're gonna die cut this other one as well. Get this nice and lined up. So I'm glad we had a success. We got to get both of these on there on the one sheet, so that was good. That looks pretty good. Run this through. Come on. Go. Okay. So now we can take out all these little extra bits. And look how cool that looks. Can't believe we did that with just a little bit of pouncing and a little bit of blooping. And you could obviously make it as dark or as light, whatever color combination you want to do. Like there's no, you know, there's no rules. The only thing you want to be careful about is two colors mixing together that might make brown, unless that's what you're going for. Like you could do this with leaves. Like if you have a leaf stamp and you want to make a bunch of leaves to put on a fall card, that would look super pretty. And then you don't even have to worry about any browns because, right, like it's fall. And that's NBD. So let's pop out. There's several little spots. So I just want to make sure to get them all. I got all of them on that one. I missed a couple on this one. Okay. There we go. Where are we at on time? All right, we're at 10:40. So there's a couple of different things, fun ways you could use these. Like these when you flip them together like this, create a really nice sort of wreath formation, which is nice. And let me put this on some, oh, well, I don't have a piece. Hold on. Thought for sure I would have had some, make sure this is 5.5. It is. Okay. Thought I had some pre-made panels in my little side table drawer. It's not really a drawer. It's like a little organizer thing. So when you put this on the white, you can see that's really gonna pop, and you have all of that beautiful color coming right at you, just sort of exploding off of that white background. Now, something that would look really pretty is if you add some kind of simple white on white texture back there. So like if you used either the window die or one of these guys from the A2 rectangles for card layering set, either one of those would look really nice back there. And I'm debating if I have enough time to do it. I think I probably do, because all we really have left to do is the sentiment. So let's try it. Let's do this one. I saw one of the design team members actually I think a couple of the design team members used this piece, I feel like, to put back behind this in different ways. So let's do that. Let's see how it turns out. I still got a bunch of little paper bits in there from last time I used it. I'm gonna grab a piece of cardstock. Man, what happened to all of my... I normally have a bunch over there, you guys. Hold on, I'm just gonna grab some. Only take a second. Let's cut this down. We'll cut this down. 5.5 and 4 1/4. Now these large kind of florals like this would actually also really look nice on a 5x7. So if you are not an A2 card person, or if you want to just make a bigger card, because it's fun to kind of change things up too sometimes, that is a good option with this floral. Now, hopefully this cuts right, because I didn't take all of those little bits out of there. I think it will. Oh, yay, Rhonda. I hope you do. Definitely give it a try. It's just a fun technique. It would look really pretty too with like pinks and purples. I saw that these trumpet flowers also, they grow in tons of different colors. I did at least do that. I just Googled trumpet flowers to see what colors they came in. And it looks like maybe this didn't quite cut through everywhere, but that's okay. I'm just gonna come along here and give it a little trimmy trim wherever it didn't quite cut, because this is going to be back behind the florals too, so it won't be a big deal. The bigger deal is that I'm making a mess. No messes. I shall outlaw messes. No, but I'm just kidding. You can have as many messes as you want, but for my space, no messes, because it drives my brain bonkers. I don't know. Let's stick this somewhere over here. I need to change the batteries in my little vacuum, you guys. It's the only downside to that little vacuum. This will be the first time I've had to change them, to be fair. But it does require that I change batteries, which is lame. All right, I'm going to kind of just like turn the paper back and forth a little bit. That can help break out all the bigger little pieces a lot faster than me popping them out. And then we'll come through here and just pop them out. If there's still some stuck in there, it doesn't really matter. It's gonna look nice still, even with that. Then you guys will have to let me know once you see it on there if you think it makes a big difference. I think having the white on white texture back there behind the florals will really take it up. Really take it up. Moving on up to the east side. Isn't it east side? Something about a 1-bedroom apartment or something. I don't know. Something. There we go. The other day I was singing the same song over and over. And I couldn't figure out, like, I was like, I know this is a real song. I have no idea where I got this from, but I could only remember one line. And it was because it was really nice outside, and I kept singing, sunny and 75. And I was like, babe, I asked my husband, I was like, what is that from? Like, I'm not crazy. I didn't just make that up. He's like, it's a country song. So he turned it on, and I was like, oh, I haven't heard that song in 20 years, but for whatever reason, that is what I associated with. Look how pretty that looks. You can kind of bring it out a little bit more so some of that extra texture shows, and it just looks really nice. I don't know if that's who it was. Was it the Jeffersons? I don't know. He pulled it out. He put it on, and I don't remember. Oh, you're right, Rebecca. I didn't see that. You said that. You're absolutely right. The gremlins did come in here and steal my pre-made A2 panels. Darn it. Okay, we've got that done. Good. That only took us 9 minutes. We're in good shape of me jabbering, but we got it done. So we're going to let's do You're the Best. And we have a couple of choices. We could do it in black cardstock and heat emboss with white. But I think we'll just stick with white with black stamping. Just to make it a little easier on ourselves today. And I'll grab a scrap here. Set really does have some nice sentiments. You're the best, sending, and then you could say sending sunshine, sending hugs, sending love, and thank you. I like that you have those 3 different options with the sending so that you could customize it up a little bit. Let's move that out of the way. Got my black hybrid ink pad here. Oh, I should have, dang it, I didn't, darn it, I didn't rub the stamp, so it's new. It's new, I haven't used it yet. And so we may need to stamp it a couple of times here just to get a real nice solid black. There we go, that looks good. Close that up before we destroy something and get inky. Come on. Come in. That's how I talk to my dog. Come in. You can do. Let's see. Where is this it? Oh, look at that, guys. Pat myself on the back. Get some highlighter tape here. I'm gonna pull it down. Let's see. And I love that big swoopy Y. Like sometimes when it comes to scripty writing, I'm like, that's way over the top because I can't even really like read the writing. But I don't mind a nice like swoopy Y as long as it's all still legible. Put this through. Sentiment. Oh yeah, see, look, that's gonna look really nice right on there. Look at that. Look at that. Doesn't this just like scream, come hang out in the garden with me? Like, let's have a tea party. I think I need like to have a tea party. And I could wear like a like I'm gonna invite people over. I wonder if some of my girlfriends would come over. We could like wear fancy hats and sip tea in the garden and act very, very fancy and drink or eat little, what do they have? Cucumber sandwiches. That's me. Vicki Donnelly. Hello, hello. Oh, and hi, Jessica. Yeah, isn't it nice? It's just a good white background to use. Were we on time? We're good. All right, let's put this pretty piece together. Now this, had I been thinking straight, which I never think straight when I'm doing lives, I would have put some double-sided adhesive back behind there. But since, you know, my brain is not functioning when I'm live, I'll just come along and get a good amount. I'm not going to go over every single line because that would take like a million years. I'm just going to go along the edges, and then I will strategically dot in various places just to keep it down on the paper, right? Because that's the goal. We don't want it to lift in any kind of weird areas, so I will focus a little bit more on the center where I add the glue, and then just kind of willy-nilly, pell-mell dot the glue everywhere else. Did you guys ever read the Pokey Little Puppy Golden book? That was a fan favorite in our household when our boys were little. And so now whenever I'm describing like, you know, I don't know how else to even describe it, I say, but pell-mell, willy-nilly pell-mell. Tumble bumble, whatever else they said in that book. The Pokey Little Puppy. My boys were very pokey. They are very pokey little puppies. And we'll set this down. Try and get it centered anyway. Do our best. That's all we can do, right? At the end of the day, is our best. And my best is different from your best, which is different from everybody else's best. It's easy to forget that, but don't forget that. Wait, what did I miss? Did Vicki say something? I must have missed that. I just saw that she was here. What did she say? Vicki, what is going on? Oh, moving a little slow after surgery. I'm sorry, love. I hope you heal up really soon from that. Yes, Rebecca, white on white, so good. Oh, and that's a great idea too, Kathy. The micro glue dot sheets. I don't have any. I should probably get some just to have for in instances like this. Okay, now you could pop this up. I'm not going to because, as you guys know, I'm going to choose someone at the end of the live from the comments to send this card to. So if you want happy mail, make sure you say hello and leave a comment. And this could be flying its way to you. So I don't want to give it too much dimension because then we might have issues with it flying around the world. And it's open internationally. I do have international forever stamps that I can use to mail internationally. I have no idea how long it'll take to get to you, but it is open to my international friends. And then we're going to bring this in. And I'm actually going to pull up this blue and purple flower down here because I want it to go over the top of that piece. There. Get my acrylic block again. Now this would look really pretty popped up, and you could do that a couple of different ways. You could add foam squares. Not my preferred way because it would take forever to get all those little areas, and that kind of tedious work is not really my jam. How I would usually do it is I would just die cut a couple extra of the floral piece, and I would just layer them. I would cut like 2-3 extras and glue them back behind there. So just that way it popped a little bit more up off the card. But that's okay. Not everything has to be super dimensional. I am going to, am I going to pop the sentiment up or not? I really want to. You guys can hang out with me. Sorry. This is my, I can't go without having a couple extra layers on the sentiment. I just can't. Let me do it real quick here with my manual cutter. This is faster, I will say. Mostly because I turn that crank like a wild woman. One of the I actually had it where the a couple of times where the screw that attaches the handle on there has come out while I'm like whipping it around. And the handle just has come flying off. And I go, oh, I guess I better put that screw back in there and tighten it down. But my Platinum 6 has gotten a lot of love. I've made so many cards. That die cutting machine has gotten a lot of love. It's been worked out, well loved, as they say. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Now my little heart will be happy. My little sentiment heart will be happy. So I'm just gonna come along here and add some glue. La la la. Then I'll stack the next one on there. And I'm not gonna press it down yet, but I am gonna come in and add some glue to this second layer. And then I'll pop this one right on top. Now I can pinch around the edges. And once everything is nice and lined up, then I can commit and press it all down. So that just makes my sentiment a little bit thicker. So it'll come up a little bit more off of the card. We'll add some glue on here. And let's make sure we get this on here nice and straight. So again, I'm going to be picking that person soon, so make sure you leave some comments down there. And we'll just pop it, I think, right there. Looks pretty good. Yeah, maybe up a little bit. Just slightly. No, I probably messed it up. No, that looks good right there. I think so. What do you guys think? I think that looks good. Put that there. Put our little acrylic block on there. And then with these colors, I won't do it during the live since we're at our time. But with these colors, the same sequin embellishment mix that I used last week, the Razzle Dazzle, I think would work really well with these colors as well, because you've got those greens and teals and blues and purples. I probably wouldn't use the pink on this. I don't know. We'll see. I'll add a couple of these sparklies. It's a little bit of blingy after the live is done. Okay, guys. here it is. Oh, isn't that pretty? I love it. I love a good, quick, and easy watercolor. Makes my heart happy. And see, so the point of like doing that initial paper pouncing with the pint-sized pouncers is because we're not going to have a sharp white edge, and we don't have to be careful. We don't have to be careful at all when we are coloring, because it's all going off the edges, and it has a lighter coloring along the edges than it does in the centers of those flowers. So when someone gets this, if they didn't know how I did it, you know, they would get it and they'd go, wait, what? How? Huh? And that's my favorite. I love when people are like, how did they do that? You know, that's like a really satisfying thing for me as a card maker. All right, guys, let's switch you over. Let's say hello, my friends. Okay, I'm closing my eyes. I'm gonna pick somebody. Let's go 1, 2, and then maybe a 6 and a 4, 2, 6, 3. I try to like confuse myself when I'm doing it because I don't want to think about how many times I've gone up or down. Christine Turner, you are the winner of this pretty card. Tea. So be sure. Oh wait. Be sure to send me an email at contact@dreamcraftcreate.com. That's my personal email address. I'll pop that up there again and say, hey, it's me, Christine. I won the card. I would love it. And I will send it off to you in the mail. And hopefully it won't take forever to get to you. So I hope. I'm going to look down here really quick and just see if I missed anything. I don't think I did. I was being pretty good. Thank you everyone for your kind, nice, lovely comments. I appreciate that. Okay, everybody, have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday, rest of your week. I will be back again next Tuesday. We are taking a little mini trip this weekend for my husband's birthday. We're going to California where it's going to be nice and warm. So I can tell you about that. I'm excited to go. And we'll be back and we'll be doing another fun card. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Bye.